morning, friends. How are you doing today? Angel Tuccy, your media exposure specialist. And I want to say happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. We made it through yet another week of our pandemic, and maybe even our last week, right? As our country starts to open up the cities. I don't know about you, but I'm not as anxious about getting back out into the world wearing a mask, but I do have a sign on my door that reminds me before I go out, got mask, right? Got my mask before I go out of the house. So happy Friday to you. I'm super excited for what we've been going through all this week. I've gotten lots of response, lots of reactions, lots of private messages, lots of private coaching calls, right? You guys have been filling up my calendar, trying to take the next steps on getting your book out there, creating your bestseller campaign, publishing, marketing, exposure, all of that. So I just want to say thank you. I'm so glad that we're in this together, right? Big hearts to you. Do you love the new Facebook emoji, the one with the little hugs and the heart? It's so sweet to show somebody that you care. And so it's always fun to see, to see some of those new little tools and toys that we get to play with on social media. But today we're going to kind of wrap this whole week up of getting exposure for your book. I just got been Facebook messaging, email messaging back and forth with my gal pal, Polly Litovsky. She's going to put on a book marketing event coming up in June, right after our boot camp. So we'll be collaborating and doing some fun stuff together on getting your book out into the world. So super excited about that. It does fall. Well, she's still working on the date, so I don't want to guarantee that for her. But it does fall right after our Media Mastery Bootcamp, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So June's already shaping up, right? Shaping up to be an exciting month. We have this month, right, to put those final foundational pieces of where we want our business to go. How are we going to shift and pivot to be in front of the wave, right? As we come out of this pandemic, having our business set up for success. So that means that we've got those foundational pieces, positioned ourselves as that content expert, taking off our sales hat, putting on our publicity hat. This is the topic that you speak on. This is what your book is about, right? This is what people are inviting you to be a guest on their stages, on radio, on television, to speak about your book. This positions you as that expert. The book is either published or getting ready to be published. It's in the works. If it's not yet published, we can still do marketing. In fact, we want to do pre-sales and create the hype that the book is coming out. This is one of the things that small business owners struggle with, right? Is that we wait and we wait until it's perfect, until it's finished, until I'm done, till it's all in place before we start to promote and market. But think about this. Have you ever, actually, I'm going to switch my camera because you can see the edge of my screen. Have you ever seen a movie? Yeah, right? In the theater? Of course, right? And when you heard about the movie, right? Think about the movie industry. Did they wait until the movie was in the theaters before they started marketing it? No, of course not. Long before it hit the theaters, right? Long before it was even finished, they were promoting it with movie posters and trailers and in others, on other people's platforms. Before you would go to see another movie, what do they show in front of? They show all these other movies on somebody else's movie platform, right? You're here to see this movie, but let me tell you about our movie, right? That's an OPP, other people's platforms. It's leveraging what other people are doing. You're here to see this, you like this, you trust this, you're a fan of this. You might also like. You probably see that through Amazon, right? Other people who bought this have also bought this. They don't wait until the movie is finished in the theater before they start marketing it, long before. And you can do the same thing with your book. We go into pre-sales. We go into pre-marketing, creating all the hype. Anticipation. I mean, think about any vacation, any trip, any fun event you've ever been a part of. I think sometimes half the excitement is in the anticipation of what is coming. right? You pack for it, you shop for it, you plan for it, you're telling people about it. Create that anticipation for your book. So leveraging these 90 days as your book is coming, that it's coming. Tease the cover, tease the title, tease some, little snippets of what's coming, what's inside the book. Tease a little bit about the launch party and the grand opening or the bestseller campaign. Give little teasers to it. In fact, people want to be a part. People want to be a part of your journey and what you're doing and excitement. Don't wait. Go into pre-sales. If the book is not yet published, this is good, right? We can create a couple of things, right? Number one, marketing partners. I want you to find 3 marketing partners, 2 or 3, maximum 3, even 2 is just fine. Because then you and them and 3, we don't need 20, right? We're asking them to buy a $20 book. You don't need to have 20 marketing partners that are all giving gifts, right? Bribing people to buy your book. But what is a marketing partner? It's somebody else who has a platform, maybe an email list, maybe an influencer who has a following on social media, right? Maybe they host events, they've got a tribe, they've got a community, they might have an association, but they've got people, right? They got people, and they've got people that would be a great fit to read your book. So by aligning with a couple of marketing partners and saying, hey, my book's going to come out, will you be a marketing partner? Will you just promote my book to your friends, right? To your sphere of influence? We'll promote you. And then if you've got 2 or 3, so now I'm promoting Sue, and Sue's promoting Joe, and Joe's promoting Angel, and we're all promoting each other. And it's easier sometimes to promote other people than it is to promote ourselves. So even though it's your book, and my book is coming out, both Sue and Joe are my marketing partners, and they've got their great list. When you buy my book, Sue's going to give you access to something good, and Joe's going to give you access to something good. So it gives you something else to talk about other than me, right? I want to talk about me. I want to talk about I, right? But you can actually now start talking a little bit more about Sue and a little bit more about Joe, but your book follows, because where you go, your brand follows. So finding a couple of marketing partners, and just a couple, like, you don't want to be herding cats. You don't want to make this overwhelming. You want to keep it simple. And you guys hear that from me a lot. Simple. Simple is the key to so much about what we're doing for growing our businesses. Is the more complicated it becomes, the more stressful it is, and the more ramp up time it takes to pull together. Even when we pulled together the Connect Summit, we kept it as simple as possible so that we could do it again. And we've now done 3, and we're already, in the works for putting on Connect Summit 4. When I have put on 3 live events, we've had over 50 speakers participate, thousands of people get to view it and to be a part of it. We would not have done that in the real world, right? In a live event, because it just takes too much planning, takes too much to put together. So the more simple you can keep it, the more often you can repeat it. So simple means I get to do it again, right? If it's so big and elaborate, this is why it takes, 3 years to plan these elaborate weddings, right? You're only going to do one. Not that you would have a wedding every month, but, plain dress up or some ball or some party, right? Anyways, I digress. So picking a couple marketing partners is going to be critical to helping you to leverage OPP, other people's platforms. Sue is promoting Joe's and your stuff to her people, right? So for Joe and me, we get in front of Sue's audience. For Joe, he gets in front of Angel's and Sue's audience. And so we create this OPP for each other, and we create this energy, and we get in front of fresh new audiences. We are all giving out our prizes. We're all creating these opt-ins for people to come back and to grow our list, right? And that's the whole key for all exposure, is growing your list. It's not to sell, it's to BYL, build your list, right? And especially on those audiences or on those platforms where you can't sell. And so this is how you leverage TV, radio, magazines, those places where it's not a selling platform, right? But you can BYL, you can build your list. And even if it's not a selling platform, they'll always let you sell your book. It's not like selling. It like defies all the rules of selling from stage or coming in and doing a sales pitch. You can sell your book. They love back of the room sales for books, promoting authors. It's like the end around to everything being this author. Some other things, if the book isn't yet published, that you can start to create extra exposure for and will help get your book out, are endorsements. Getting people, celebrities, influencers to endorse your book, right? That will write a testimonial for the front or the back. You can put a quote on it, especially if it's somebody that's a pretty big deal, right? If they're a big deal, like a big dill pickle. So, if we think about, there's so many people that are probably around you, again, that are influencers, that have a crowd, that know you, like you, trust you. And so those would be great people to just send a couple chapters to, even the concept of what the book is about. I've endorsed tons of books. I love it when people say, hey, Angel, if I send you this, will you give me a quote and endorse my book? Absolutely. Hallelujah. I would love to. And here's why, right? I get to be on OPP, other people's platforms, right? And in print, right? My name's in print. This is a good place for your name to be. So think about, who do you know that has a level of influence that you could leverage, right? You're leveraging their audience. This is why why you see people use the logos, the ABC, NBC, CBS, Huffington Post, Forbes, Entrepreneur. Like, why do they use them? Because those brands are familiar. So if you can take something that is familiar to your audience, somebody's name that they might recognize, even if you don't have a big platform yet. When I first wrote the very first one, List That Saved My Life, I didn't have a big platform. I didn't really know anybody. Nobody knew me, right? And so these are things you learn along the way on how to leverage, how to get your brand out there, and to have other people come on board as your endorsers. So think about who you could send it to, that you could just put a quote, right? Have their name on the back of their book. If you look at your bookshelf, like go onto your bookshelf and see, let's see, I've got one of the original Rich Dad, Poor Dads, right? #1 New York Times bestseller. And they've got Richard and Sharon's quotes on the back. But I was thinking maybe they might have had somebody else's too. Here they are. Oh, Mark Victor Hansen quoted, Zig Ziglar, Honolulu Magazine, the president of Tenet Check of America, a lecturer on finance from Melbourne, right? And so, and Inc Magazine. And so they went and got endorsements. And now you've got these endorsements, right? You put those on the Amazon page, you put them on your book selling page, you get some SEO, right? Because you've got these familiar names. Again, you're not as familiar yet. So use somebody else's fame and influence and ask them for a quote. And in many cases, they're anxious and excited and more than willing to give you a quote for your book because it puts their brand out there too, right? And we all want, right? We're all looking for even more exposure. And now, there are those that they charge you for their endorsement, because rightfully so, right? It's going to help you sell more books. And so they get theirs up front. But, if we think a little bit creatively about who else do we know, rather than asking Oprah, right, for her testimonial, but there's a whole lot of other people that have TV shows in magazines, maybe even your local newscasters and local journalists and local radio hosts. So think and be creative and think outside the box. The foreword. Somebody could write the foreword for your book. Somebody that's, again, another influencer, a celebrity, in your community that is a great marketing partner for you. Now, writing a foreword is a bigger ask than just saying, hey, will you give me a quote? It is a bigger ask. And so you want it to be somebody you've got a connection with, right? Or something that there's value in them putting the time and the energy into writing this forward. But I'm sure there's somebody, as you've been putting your book together, that you've thought it would be nice to have this person, right, write this for me. Maybe it's somebody who's had a big impact in your life or part of the journey that got you to where you are today, that this book is possible because of their mentorship, their guidance, even their coaching towards you, or their support of you in getting into this space. Another way that leveraging your relationships, right? Leveraging your connections. So first we talked about marketing partners. Next, we talked about endorsements, somebody writing your forward. You can even interview folks and have their interviews, their experience, their quotes, their journey, their breakthrough. These could be your clients. These could be marketing partners. These could be prospective clients, right? Leads that you want to bring into your sales funnel. But think about, how you'll leverage that. And so in my book list at Save My Business, I think I probably have like 50 people that I have mentioned or interviewed or commented on inside of that book. So of course you let them know, hey, I'm going to mention you. We've got a story. I've got you in here. Is it all right if I use your name this way, right? Ask their permission. Ask them for their permission, right? You don't want to just assume that they're okay with it. But of course, if they're featured in the book, guess who's going to buy your book? Right? I'm going to buy a book that's got my name in it. I'm going to tell people to buy a book that's got my name in it. Right? So when you give them a little accolade, a little stage time, a little presence. And so these are all things that before the book is published. So it's okay, right, that the book isn't out yet. And you're pre-marketing it. You're creating the anticipation. You're doing pre-sales. You're getting marketing partners. You're getting endorsements. You're getting somebody to write that forward. Like you're building up. And all along, you're already getting all these folks who will go out and buy your book and help you to promote and to market your book as well. So relationships matter. I always say you build your business one to many, but relationships are built one to one. So make a list. Just, take some time and make a list. Like, who made this possible? Who's been the wind beneath your wings? Who's been those supporters, those advocates? Who were some of those first clients that believed in you and that, wrote you that first check? Who have you aspired to? Who's like one or two steps ahead of you that you've been following and want to emulate? Who's been your crowd? Who's been your tribe? Who's been your community? And make a list and ask yourself, how can I include them? Like, don't do this. You're not an island, right? Don't do this alone. Even as an entrepreneur and building your business, don't do this alone. Build your tribe, build your community, because we need each other. We need each other. And if anything, during this pandemic time, I think we've learned that just more than anything, like how much we need each other. And so bring them aboard, bring them on. Like, they want to be a part of it. I promise you, they will be just as excited for you. And then even more so when they know you're going to include them. I mean, even when you see the big stars, right? Whenever they get an award, right? They thank the people around them. So even if you just have a thank you page, right? I'm in gratitude and thank you to all the people that have stood behind me, made this possible. And so make sure that you include them in your story and in print with their name in print. And those will end up being some of your biggest fans and biggest door openers down the road. And then of course, once the book is out, personalized, autographed books, gifts specifically for them. And I know you're thinking, well, wait a minute, if I gift them the book, they won't buy it. Yeah, they will. They'll still buy your book, right? Don't get so tight, right? Where your fist is closed off, because nothing can get in, but nothing can come out. And like nothing can go out, but nothing can come in either, right? So, of course, we've been talking this week about our Media Mastery Bootcamp coming up June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, where we go through all of this, right? All the media assets that you need to get your book out into the marketplace, how to create publicity, get booked on radio, television, magazines, podcasts, putting your media one sheet together, putting the book together, your bestseller campaign, those emails, how to attract marketing partners, how to turn that book into recurring revenue, your media one sheet. Look, all of this is in here, media exposure. And then of course you get your whole media directory as well, is built in here into the workbook as well. So sign up today, June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. I know it's still a little bit ways away, but don't delay and don't wait, right? There's pieces that we can be doing to get ourselves ready so we can just launch, rocket launch out of the Media Mastery Bootcamp. Tell your friends, right? Anybody who's looking, I wish I had more exposure. I need more people to say, I've heard of you. I want to get my book out into the world. I want to write my book. I want to publish my book. I want to do my signature talk. I want to have my signature, my core offer. I want to have my call to action. Like, I want to have all the pieces ready to go, because this is my year. And even though we've had a little speed bump, right, in how we thought this year was gonna play out, it's not stopping us. It's not slowing us down. And those who are ready and who are in front of the wave, with all these pieces in place, will have the fastest, most sustainable success. So that is your media exposure talk for today. Questions? I'm doing this blind. I really am doing this blind. So I don't see your comments, but I will go back and I will look at them. I will follow up and interact with you and respond to you. I want to say thank you so much for being a part of this. I'm Angel Tuccy, your media exposure specialist. I want your book to get out into the world and make the impact that you desire it to do. Let's go and have a fabulous weekend, and I'll see you back here next week.